say. Okay. So we're live.
Oh, hey.
Whoa.
Welcome back.
Whoa.
Hey. We are here.
Dude.
We're at the promised land.
I'm way... Oh, here, come on in. Don't be scared. Put your leg on my leg.
Put
your hand on my hand.
To you.
Let's do this. So, just before we get started, Alex Jones gets the social media monopoly boot. New York State to mandate business owners give 3 months bereavement leave. 218-year-olds vote in Ohio election. Unite the right to a major dud. And, of course, this week's mystery link of the week.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what we're going to do today.
We are back and we are live.
And I tell you what, we're not going to do a damn thing until people start showing up.
Shit. I think we're going to be waiting a while.
Yeah, it's fine. Whatever.
I think the one watching actually might be me on my phone.
Oh, it's me.
Oh, that's right. Okay, never mind.
So while I'm introing the show, you want to share
Share what?
the post that just went out on Facebook?
The post.
Yeah, on your phone.
I'm in a tuxedo.
That's true.
Shirt.
That's true.
I'm at the wrong venue.
It's very,
Let me tell you what happened.
very limiting.
I wake up and I happen to check my phone, and you messaged me, and I was under the impression that you were supposed to have another guest on the show. So I was like, okay, I get to sleep in tonight before I go to work. No, that wasn't the case. So I had this shirt set to the side for a wedding that I'm going to on Saturday, and I was in a hurry to get over here. So I was thinking it was another shirt of mine, and it wasn't. It wasn't until I got to the gas station. Lady kind of looked at my shirt, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm in a tux.
You're just a little pissed off because you got to do laundry between now and then now.
Yeah, I do. That kind of fucking sucks.
I know. See, I got munchkins that do my laundry for me, so I don't ever have to, I haven't had to do laundry in like years.
Oh, jeez.
I just work and pay bills, and then I guilt them into doing my laundry for me.
That works.
Ain't that right?
She does her own laundry.
She does her own laundry. Producer Haley does her own laundry. You got the first scoop right here.
I thought I'd bring a little bit more formality to the show.
I appreciate it. It's very nice. It's very nice. It needs an Unframe of my logo.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Kind of like, right in here somewhere.
No, I was thinking like a pin, like right here,
Right there.
or like, yeah,
Right
like
there.
right here.
Ooh, keep doing
It's
that.
good.
Ooh.
Hey, you do. Hey, I see where your shirt marks itself. At any rate, welcome to the Unframe of Mind show, where we have uncomfortable conversations without a condom. Anthony and I are going to attempt to lob fiery balls of truth, reason, and evidence over safe room walls today, because that's what we love to do.
And if you're not careful, you get burned like me.
That's right, and I'm glad you guys hop in and joined us. There's a number of topics that have come up over the last couple weeks, and I know there's been a bit of a change in programming going on between having conversations with Anthony and I've got another guest that was supposed to be on last week and was not on last week because of technical difficulties, but we've now since figured that out, so yeah, we're good to go. Haley, by the way, if that temperature gets too high, turn the fan on, please. Yeah.
I figured it was just because of me in the room.
Yeah, you may have to plug it in. It's actually starting to get a little high now, so you might have to plug it in.
Plug it in.
At any rate, so
plug it in, plug it in.
So while she goes and gets that situated, and she can't slide a chair all over the place, just unplug the washer.
I don't think there's ever been an intro where
The
things
top
have
one.
gone smoothly.
The top one. Definitely the top one. Yeah. And plug it into the yellow cord and plug the yellow cord into that. That's what it's there for. Thank you, ma'am.
Hey, why are we froze on the big TV?
That's a good question.
Mm-mm.
I certainly hope that doesn't become a problem.
Oh, she paused us.
Oh, goodness.
I have my eyes closed.
Yeah,
I think you do. Oh, hey, there we are.
All right.
Hey. All right.
So here in a minute, we're going to be watching ourselves again. Let's get started. Let's get started. So, where to start? I want to start with the paid bereavement policy that's being pushed in New York State right now. That's
right.
I think it's passed. It's been passed, and it's waiting on Governor Cuomo to sign it into law, I guess, is where it's at right now. I heard about this through the Kyle Kulinski show, which if you've never listened to his show, you probably, if you're like me, won't agree with everything he says, but the dude does make some pretty good points. we're gonna go ahead and call him out on a point that I disagreed with him later. But
All right.
But that being said, I did hear about this, and I thought that was pretty interesting. The fact that they're passing this law that says that you have to have that by law employers are required to give their employees 3 months or up to 12 weeks of bereavement pay, with I think it was like 50 to 60% of their pay during that time off. And somebody should have been bringing up the article by now on tab 1 so that I can talk about it. There you go. All right. So with no one looking, state lawmakers just passed yet another new tax. If you don't mind scrolling down just a little bit. So anyway, it's been updated since this article, but the bill would force employers to offer workers 12 weeks of time with pay whenever a family member dies. That may sound nice, but the cost would be paid by the worker himself via a 0.126% payroll deduction via a new tax. It does say 10 weeks, but it's been updated since, and it's actually 12 weeks. This is an old article.
I mean, I don't. Now, I do have to say that, the bereavement time that they do give us off, for, I guess, close family members is a little short in my opinion. However, 12 weeks is rather much. Now, obviously, there has to be some stipulations as far as who that includes. Does it not? I mean, does this account for like aunts, uncles, siblings?
That's exactly what I'm trying to figure out. Is you pulled your cord down? I'm trying to figure out.
That cord again.
Yeah. So look, check this out. There's this little clip right here. You can clip your wire. Pull it off there.
I like it to dangle.
Yeah.
So anyway, to dangle.
There was a I'm going through all these articles trying to dig in deeper and find the actual bill, and I can't find it just yet. I'm still looking for it.
Right.
Every article I read on it, nobody linked to a bill. They just linked to another article talking about it. I was like, okay.
So it's kind of giving you the runaround right now.
Yeah, kind of giving me the runaround. So I don't understand what's up with that. So take this with a grain of salt. This may be complete fake news. I don't know why they did it. It's not the first time they've done something like this.
It is coming from the New York Post. So
yeah, it's not the first time this has happened. I mean, even the Russian dossier was leaked out to Yahoo News, and then the guy came out with it, and then it was all like sourced back to Yahoo News as if Yahoo News was the original source for it, even though he was the one that linked. Yeah. I'm like, so they will do shit like this. At any rate, I got a little clip here. It's actually kind of a long clip. I'm gonna play part of it, but there will be frequent pauses. So
okay,
because I've got some shit to say. Yeah, full screen on it. Yeah, so go ahead and push play, and whenever I tap you here, go ahead and pause it.
Developed world that gets no paid time off by law. So we're an outlier in the direction.
Okay, so for a little context, just to be clear, he actually had just finished playing a clip from Fox News commentators talking about how much of a disaster it would be for employers, and especially small business employers and things like that. And he's going on to give his commentary about their commentary. So just so you understand where he's coming from. So the article comes out, they passed the bill. Fox News has some people on talking about it, how much of a disaster it'd be, and he's rebutting. So that's where we're at. Go ahead.
Developed world that gets no paid time off by law. So we're an outlier in the direction of being particularly shitty towards working people.
All right. So this is another fun one. He said that we're the only country in the entire world that doesn't have a law like this. Like all the other countries have laws like this that mandate paid time off for employees.
Okay.
All right. Of course, where he falls short on this argument is the fact that, if that was logically consistent, then we would also say that, at one point, all countries in the world viewed slavery as a good thing, or it was the law. And at some point, one country no longer did that. So by that logic, should that one country not fall in line with the rest of the countries and go ahead and just reinstitute slavery? That's not an argument for this is a bad thing.
No.
That argument completely falls short. Go ahead.
developed world that gets no paid time off by law.
You went back, didn't you? It's okay.
So we're an outlier in the direction of being particularly shitty towards working people. So now you get a governor in the U.S., in New York, who says, okay, well, we're going to change this up a little bit. We're going to do 3 months paid leave for bereavement. So if somebody close to you dies, okay, you get time off. And by the way, the way these things usually work, guys, is like the government picks up a certain percentage of it, and the businesses have to pick up a certain percentage of it. You don't get 100% of your pay while you're gone, but you get like 50 or 60% or something like that. So it's nuanced, and it's detailed, and it's kind of made in a way to ameliorate any potential damage to a business owner, for example. Usually they carve out exceptions for small businesses versus big businesses. So, of course, he's not really going to go into the specifics of this plan, because what he wants to do...
All right, so the specifics of the plan. Again, I couldn't find the specifics. I don't know what he's talking about.
Unless apparently he must have read something that we have not. So.
Maybe he did. What he did say is, well, it usually does. They've got these different exceptions for this and that. But my core problem is it's the fact that you're forcing by law. You're willing to say, I'm willing to point a gun at you and tell you that you will pay your employees for bereavement leave. And this is going to be the exact amount of time you have to pay them for. This is going to be the exact percentage. This is going to be the exact amount of tax that you have to take out on each employee. And, you're willing to point a gun at somebody and tell them that this is how it's going to be.
No, I don't. Yeah. I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah. So I mean, I was reading somewhere that around 88% of employers do offer some kind of bereavement leave, some kind of policy.
Yeah.
Whether it's like my company offers a week for parents or children. It's 3 days for extended family members, all paid leave. I know not all companies do this, but ours does. I mean, it's part of the benefits package. It's part of the reason I stay there and work there, because it comes as part of the package. Nobody's forcing them to do it, though.
No, nobody's forcing them to do it. But at the same time, too, it's I think it's a privilege to be able to work for a company that gives you that kind of time off, because not all companies do that. 12 weeks, in my opinion, if that is the case, if it is 12 weeks, I think it's a bit much in my opinion. And the reason why I say that is because, there can be certain situations where that might be warranted. Mm-hmm. Say if your folks live out of the country and, maybe you've migrated over to the U.S. and you have to go back and take care of, personal family business.
Right.
That I can understand, but to grant it to all employees, no. I think that it needs to be based on specifically the situation in which you're going through. Now, my folks live in Tampa, so if something were to happen with them, I may need to take a little bit longer than a week.
I totally understand that. Each individual situation is different, and who would you say would be more equipped to deal with each individual issue as it came up, or each individual circumstance as it came up? The employer who is working with you directly, or the U.S. government that's sitting over in Washington and just making arbitrary rules that they think will fit all scenarios at all times, and then they got to go in and try to readjust.
No.
And where he's coming from, Kyle, where he's coming from is he's one that advocates for the livable minimum wage. Like everybody who's working should be able to have a livable wage. And that's just not the way industry works. I mean, there's a lot of jobs that are not designed to be a job that you support a family on. You've got a number of jobs. I'm sitting there like,
you can't work at McDonald's when you're 35 years old thinking you're going to provide for your family if you're still, hey, would you like fries with that? No, you work in the drive-through window. You cannot provide for your family. Now, I mean, if you're a general manager, it's one thing, but
yeah,
no, you can't do that. I mean, the process of jobs such as that is to get you sort of established and work your way up through life.
Yeah, kind of. So, it's like I'm sitting here thinking about the drive-in theater, for example, and the majority of the people that work behind the counter are like high school students.
Right.
They're just looking for a weekend job. They just need a little extra money.
And it's responsibilities.
Right. It's a good way for them to build up responsibilities, and it's so costly to run a drive-in theater that it's either you up the price of the tickets to accommodate paying all of your employees behind the counter a livable wage, in which case nobody's going to come to your drive-in because it's too damn expensive.
Right.
Like, you still have to, make business decisions. And I understand he did point out that there's going to be some exceptions, probably but I still can't get past the original fact that no matter which way you swap it, no matter how good the policy is or how perfect they get everything, there's still a gun in the room here. And that's the problem.
Yep.
That's the problem for me. So go ahead and play a little more. Let's see what we've got here.
What are we doing? Every time I click spacebar, it go back. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. We'll figure it out. It's fine.
Developed world that gets no paid time off.
Well, it went way
law.
back, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, don't hit spacebar then.
I didn't hit spacebar that time. I just hit 4.
Okay.
We're live. Just go.
I know. I was further.
Okay, you get time off. And by the way, the way these things usually work, guys, is like the
We already saw
government
that.
picks
Keep
up a
going.
certain percentage of it. So it's nuanced and it's detailed and it's kind of made in a way to ameliorate any potential damage to a business owner, for example. Usually they carve out exceptions for small businesses versus big businesses. So, of course, he's not really going to go into the specifics of this plan because what he wants to do is clutch his pearls and, pick up his monocle that he dropped and say, "Whoa, my goodness, you want to give the peasants 3 months off? My God, I cannot believe you're supposed to get up and go to work. That's the way that this world works. You get up and you go to work and you work for your business owner who's out there playing golf on an exclusive country club and you make him money and you shut up about it." I don't mean to slam golf.
Go ahead and line it up for the next. Read your notes. Anyway, yeah. So he obviously has like a hard on for beating up on the wealthy. He's very much
Obviously.
so an enemy of the will, and like he has this idea. Not that one.
What?
Then look at your notes.
I'm sorry.
Goomba, we got
Your
more to go.
producer's fired.
I know, she's getting fired. It's the first time she's worked in 3 weeks. She's fired already. Anyway, it's really interesting to hear how much he's got this idea that the wealthy are just sitting on top of their perches and just making all this money and they're not doing anything to earn it, and they're just. It's like no. There's a whole past history of measured risk that goes into it. Like, these guys start businesses. Oftentimes, they're the ones working for 80, 100 hours a week just trying to make the damn thing work before they can even afford to hire their first employee. Like, they're most of these guys are grinding it out.
Yeah, but you got to consider the folks that are out. Say if they are out for 12 weeks, you got to have the manpower to be able to cover for that individual that is out.
Right.
So you're talking, overtime if there is nobody that they're willing to bring in. So you're actually going to end up paying out a lot more.
Yep,
for
'cause
that
you're
person being out.
Required by government to pay overtime as well. It's like,
yeah, so it's like that's not good for business.
It's definitely not good for smaller business, and I
Right.
think part of I don't understand why they're passing this. Like, what's the big and what the article was saying was they kind of snuck it in at the 11th hour. They kind of like snuck this in when nobody was watching. That's how they do most of this shit. So I'm trying to figure out why in the world they felt the need to do this. And the only thing I can think of is, they've got the government and the corporations kind of they're holding each other's hands. And what's more benefit to a corporation than to squash the little guy through overburdensome regulation like this bullshit right here?
Yeah, that's just it's. I mean, there has to be more to it that we're just not seeing. So, until we can read actually extensively into it, then we just really won't know.
So let's continue, shall we? This is
Moving on
a little
up.
farther on in the video here. I didn't want to play the whole thing.
No, it's fine.
No, it's not when I press spacebar. It's when I switch screens.
Oh. Maybe the Noom keys have something to do with it.
But now we get paid a little bit of paid time off, maybe, in one state. He's like, this is ridiculous.
Sorry, I wanted you to look over here. Go ahead and play. Switch it back over. No, I know. I see it. I see it. I see it. I just wanted you to look over here
He's like, this is ridiculous.
on the bottom.
You're supposed
you
to
don't have
show
switch
up and
over every
work and
time.
die. You're not a human being. You're a fucking cog in a machine. That's what you are. Get on the assembly line and shut the fuck up. This is unbelievably anti-business. How about it's pro-human? How about its pro-family values?
All right.
What happened? You guys tell me.
We're done here. We're done. I can't listen to this anymore.
Yeah. Okay, I'm good.
How about it's anti what is it? How about pro-human? Like, no, most businesses are already doing these things for their
Yeah,
employees.
they
Like, you don't
are.
have to force them to do it. The market will provide.
Yeah, it will.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway. What I don't know what y'all think about that. Hey, we got some information. Senate Bill S8380A. Yeah. Let's
look
bring
that
that
up.
let's bring that up in a search. Thank you, Miss Carrie. I appreciate that. I was trying to figure out how to find the damn thing, but nobody linked to it.
Well, here we go.
Oh, look at that. Senate Bill S8380A authorizes paid family leave for bereavement. Go on. Let's view notes. I don't know how to read this in live. Click on that down arrow. It says view notes. A little farther. Right. Votes. Oh, votes. Sorry. I read it wrong. Keep going. All right. Title of bill. An act to amend the workers' compensation law in relation to paid family leave and bereavement. We've pretty much got all that covered. I'm not going to go through and read the entire
Yeah,
thing.
we'll be here the rest of the show. because
Yeah, but
just do a follow-up online.
yeah, I do appreciate that. So, anyway. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just an asshole that feels like people don't need to get paid for,
Yeah, we're
time
just
off.
insensitive
Just
pricks.
insensitive pricks. Yeah, maybe that's it. Because like that last clip, the reason I wanted to show that is because I just want to showcase that he has this sense, and he seems to have this idea that as a business owner, you're just a slave driver. You hate your employees. You just want to make every buck you can out of them. You don't care about people.
Companies are in a situation where they have to look out for the company's best interest, but also trying to take care of their employees. So they have to find that middle ground.
Part of taking care of the employees is in the company's best interest.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
It all falls under that umbrella.
Right, but at the same sense too is you want to accommodate to give them that time off that they need. Now, most companies will work with you past their extended time that they're willing to give you for bereavement. However, that company tends to work it out is completely up between the company and that individual.
Yeah.
Because like I said before, not every situation is going to be the same. It's going to be based on how things kind of fall in line. So I don't know. I mean, I'd have to read up more on that to kind of read to see what is more in detail, but that's in New York, so it really doesn't affect us. Now, is that something? Are you falling asleep on me?
No, I'm looking at the fan, seeing if it's on. Okay.
This is like the most sketchiest show I've ever seen.
No, it's fine. Just trying to make sure of it. Look, you got to forgive me. I'm a little paranoid because my computer's been crashing on me, and
Yeah.
I think the water cooled heat sink is.
I saw your cheek hit that mic, and I'm like, damn, if I'm that boring, I should just
Yeah.
leave. I'll just take my shit and go home.
I can't stand listening to him talk.
It's the shirt, isn't it?
Why? Why? Let's move on, shall we? All right. So the Unite the Right 2 happened in Charlottesville this year. That was a fantastic thing.
It was in D.C.
It was in D.C. I
was
thought
in
it was in
DC.
Charlottesville also. Or they,
It might have been, but I think the core of that whole demonstration
yeah.
was in D.C.
So I wanted to show just to show how much of an amazing because the way the media portrays it, we've got so many of these Nazis out there. Like everybody is
fucking everywhere, man.
Like these guys are like
skinheads.
These guys are like oozing out of the bushes. They're like jumping out from behind like the bathroom stall door when you're trying to take a shit. I mean they're hopping
They're
out.
burning crosses on every corner.
They're like being smuggled inside refrigerated trucks. No, wait, that's the illegal immigrants. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Let's see what we got here.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on.
The first thing I see is it says "Fun Black."
If
What
you
the hell
look,
is
if
that
you want to just
about?
click over here, you can just click screen 1. We're on.
So what happened at Unite the Right 2? A massive police presence escorted a handful of white supremacists through a metro station in Virginia. Cameras were everywhere. One guy was arrested for spitting on a Virginia State Police officer.
That was it, right? That's it. You go home. That's it.
After a short ride to D.C., a few Nazis actually showed their faces in public. A few hundred anti-fascists hid theirs. Thousands of counter-protesters from diverse backgrounds rallied, chanted, and marched in the streets.
Donald Trump, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. Anytime, any place,
Some groups marched better than others.
Stay tight! What are you doing? Stay tight! Stay tight! Pull back!
So great.
Cameras were everywhere. Some guy burned a Nazi/Confederate flag hybrid, and this guy dressed up as Indiana Jones because Nazis. As for the right-wing protests, I have no idea what they said because they were completely drowned out by loud boos and Game of Thrones references. As the rain fell on Lafayette Square, the crowds began to disperse.
Aw.
Most counter-protesters never even saw anyone from the far right at the rally.
I saw a few of them on their way out. There was like a handful of people, that was it.
And they have a basic right to protest. We have a right to protest. So we show up with more numbers.
They just can't put on a showing like they think they can. I think that they're far outnumbered by the American people.
Their movement is basically just incredibly weak and should stop. Just stop being Nazis.
I'd like to thank Reason for that one. Really?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
That was
Okay.
fantastic. So I basically get the idea that maybe there wasn't Nazis just crawling out from the sewers, and
I think they counted like 12 of them at this rally. Now, it's interesting because you have all these different groups that make the Nazis seem like they're just this big plague in our society when actually they're not.
Mm-hmm.
They're just almost to the point where they're almost extinct, and it's hilarious how much Black Lives Matters and Antifa and all these other organizations want to make it sound like they're just everywhere, and they're not. Sorry, hate to disappoint you, but you're a fucking idiot for believing that.
These Nazis are ducked down in the back seat of your children's school bus, waiting to jump out at you and slash you with their Sieg Heil hands.
I tell you what, Antifa's got a lot on their hands to deal with anyways, what's going on up there in Portland, the Battle of Portland. But, seeing the shit going on in D.C. and they're trying to make this out more than what it is, it's actually quite comical. It just shows how stupid people are to thinking that there's actually this big movement of white supremacists. Now, it's not to say that there isn't racism in our country,
right?
Because obviously that there is, and I'm not saying that there's not, but to suggest that there's these hooded guys going around, burning crosses and hanging black people, it's just not happening. People are stupid for believing that shit because it's not going on as much as you think that it is. And it really gets under my skin to see people talk about this shit. And I'm starting to get worked up, but it's such a, this much percentage of where we live.
Yeah, that's all I've said. Like almost the entire time I've been doing the show, I've said that the whole race issue is statistically insignificant. Like, yes, it's out there. Yes, there are assholes out there that hate people based on the color of their skin. Yes, that exists. But statistically, it's insignificant. People aren't doing that shit en masse. It's not a huge issue. Trump is not, working up a horde and dog whistling to a horde of racists. Jesus Christ. This is
and it's
something
funny
else,
because
man.
Alex Jones and then Gavin both got banned from Twitter all before this whole situation went down, and they thought that they were going to end up fueling this whole situation with the Unite the Right rally too, and that could have been the furthest thing from the truth. These are both individuals that have disavowed, the white supremacists, which I don't understand why they sit there and they got banned from Twitter, just before, and also you have the midterms coming up as well. So it's we'll get into that.
We'll definitely be covering that.
A lot to say on that.
Yeah.
Shit.
So just before we move on to the next subject, did you know that the organizer of the one thing before that, did you know that these racist white supremacist Nazis were so terrible that they actually cut the cord on one of the media's cameras, their microphone cord on their camera?
I didn't know that.
Well, that's because they didn't. It was actually Antifa guys that did that. So,
I tell you what, man, I got some choice words about Antifa, but we know how that goes, right?
Yeah. So anyway, but anyway, organizer Jason Kessler, the guy that put the whole event together, did you know he was actually an Obama guy?
Yeah, he voted for Obama.
Did you know that he was part of the Occupy Wall Street movement?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I found this out from Dinesh D'Souza. He's got this new movie out. I'm having a brain fart about what the new movie's called right now.
I haven't looked it up, so don't ask me. I couldn't tell you.
Brain fart. I really want to see it though.
Yeah.
I really want to see it. It's already in theaters. But basically, it points out how the Democratic Party has always been the party of racist and is still today the party of racist.
Well, there is a little bit of truth behind that.
Yeah, he even points out, like, this guy here that's supposed to be a huge white nationalist is actually a Democrat, like is actually into the Obama movement. What's the other guy? The other alt-right guy that's I'm having a brain fart.
Oh, he was the one that went
Richard
and spoke
Spencer.
at Richard Spencer. He was the one that spoke shortly after the Charleston situation. Not Charleston, Charlottesville situation. Yeah, thank you. He was the one that spoke at the University of Florida, and you can actually pull up that on YouTube. And it's I don't like that. I just don't like that.
Yeah. I don't agree with the damn thing he says. But
I tell you what. You know, I'm surprised that the University of Florida actually allowed him to speak, which, we can get into this whole tangent about we can get into the whole history about what he's about and the controversy that he stirred up. But then you're also kind of falling into that First Amendment and freedom of speech vocabulary. And I don't know. Me personally, this is a situation where these guys are so far in between that they don't have that much of an effect on society. Sorry.
All right, exclusive movie clip. We're going to play this real quick for
All
you.
right.
Yeah, this is Dinesh D'Souza sitting down for an interview, and it actually is a brief preview for his movie, so we'll have the title at the end here, but if you wouldn't mind playing that for us, please, ma'am.
Hail our people! Hail victory!
Go back to the where he's sitting. Go to the part where he's sitting down on an interview right there. Yeah.
Believe.
No individual has a right outside of a collective community. You have rights, not eternally or given by God or by nature.
Who gives them to us?
You have them because you're a part of this community. Ultimately, the state gives those rights to you.
So the state is the source of rights, not the individual.
It simply is.
What would be your take on, say, Reagan?
I do not think that he was a great president.
Who's your favorite president?
There is something about Jackson. There's something about Polk as well, someone who only served one term.
But I mean, Jackson and Polk, as you know, both Democrats.
Party is just the vessel that one uses.
I mean, Jackson's the founder of the Democratic Party.
Death of a nation.
All right,
it is now up to us to save America.
Yeah, Death of a Nation. That was the name of the movie.
I'm going to have to watch that.
Yeah, I really want to see it. We ought to make it a point to go to the movie theaters and see it and then do a show about it after that. What do you think?
As long as we get to hold hands, I'm good with it.
Is it like a documentary?
I think so. Yeah.
You buying my popcorn and drink?
Hell no. We'll smuggle
That'll
that
set us
shit
back $50, won't it?
We'll smuggle that shit in. I think them people at that movie theater paying their employees a livable wage. Jesus Christ. What? Pretend you're pregnant. She says pretend you're pregnant.
Fuck am I going to pull that off? No, miss. I just had a 12-pack before I came in. That's why my belly's full.
Yeah, that's so hot. So hot. Anyway, let's move on before we run out of time here. But next subject. 218-year-old votes in Ohio election. A bunch of them, actually. If you can bring up the article, pay attention, ma'am. So 117 voters in the Ohio race over 116 years old. The problem with that is that the world's oldest person is a Japanese born person who is 115 years old. Yeah. So they've actually got a number of voters on their rolls right now that are, the stated date of birth is like 1800, January 1st, 1800.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you.
That's 218 years old.
At that age, I'm doing good just to take my pills in the morning.
Yeah, you
let
probably.
alone I'm going to get out and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go vote today. I am going to go vote because I'm old as fuck. And it's just something I need to do as my civic duty.
They're going up. It's fine. So, no, back down. You gotta bring up the screen over there.
I know. I was just making
All right, so it's becoming clear that Democrats will stop at nothing to get their blue wave to happen. This is from westernjournal.com. In Tuesday's special election for Ohio's 12th congressional district, Republican Troy Balderson won by a narrow margin, around 1,600 votes. That's less than 1% of the total number of votes in the entire district, making the election too close to call at the moment and requiring a recount under Ohio law. Additionally, more than 3,000 provisional ballots still have to be counted, nearly twice the number of votes in the winning margin. So his victory is far from assured. Such a slim margin in this special election has brought to light the dangerous consequences voter fraud can have for those who play fair. Continue. According to... Yes, according to Eric Eggers, research director at the Government Accountability Institute, 170 registered voters in Ohio's 12th congressional district are listed as being over 116 years old. Considering that the world's oldest living person is a 115-year-old resident of Japan, this is a big problem. Continue. You should see where I'm reading. Keep going. So, yeah, in fact, many of the voters on Ohio's rolls list their birthdays as January 1st, 1800, making them 218 years old. Oh, clearly something is amiss. No, that's totally legit, dude. Totally
I just got up out of my grave and said, I'm going to go vote today.
Yeah, right. So here's the problem. The reason this is such a big deal, and the reason
it affects the outcome of a race.
Well, it's not so much just this race. It's the fact that Ohio tends to be the state that kind of determines whole presidential elections. They tend to be the swing state that. Yeah. So if they can gain the balance through a bunch of voter fraud and shit,
I'd like to see, because I think it's is it 24, 25 delegates for Florida? Is that right?
I don't know.
I think it is. And if that's the case, you have a lot of retired people that live there. That could get ugly.
Yeah,
and with that many counts on the delegates for being a presidential candidate, that's a little scary, because if this is happening in Ohio, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens come midterms.
Yeah.
Especially in the state of Florida and other places that do have a high retirement rate. Arizona would be another one for snowbirds.
It is a little interesting watching the lengths to which the Democrats tend to go here, as I'm seeing, and I imagine the people on the right are doing it too, but probably not nearly as big of numbers as my research has shown.
The Democrats are shooting themselves enough in the foot to go ahead and hand them the midterms plus the elections in 2020. So, I mean, if Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi continue on doing what they're doing, and this Alexandra Ocasio, whatever her name is, out of the Bronx in New York. Ortiz, yes, thank you. If they continue on the path that they're going, this is going to be a landslide, midterms and next election.
Oh, my God.
It's just,
hey, let Ortiz keep talking.
I just want a catcall her. That's all I want to do, man.
Damn, Kyle Kalinski's got a hard on for her. Like he is all about her. She's so strong. She knows what she's talking about.
I just want somebody to show me where socialism has actually worked in this world. I just do your research, pull it up, send me the link, post it on here. I want to see where this has actually where this has had worked in the world. I just want to know, where has it worked?
Yeah, I do know that guys like Kyle and guys, a number of the progressives will bring up a number of countries like Scandinavia and that kind of thing, whereas the right will bring up Venezuela, which it's just two very, very different looks at socialist.
Have you seen Venezuela policies right now?
Well, that's why the right brings up Venezuela and the left brings up Scandinavia or Sweden. Problem is there's a huge difference in the overall IQ of those two nations. That's a huge problem.
It also depends on who's controlling the country as well.
It depends on who's controlling the country. And it's like, wait, socialist policies might work perfectly well under the perfect owner or perfect ruler. But the problem is you never know who you're going to get. I mean, you may have a perfect paradise, and then all of a sudden somebody else gets in the office, flips a switch, and fucks everything up. And then, oh, damn, there it all went.
Yeah, in a country of this magnitude, socialism will not work. It just won't.
Yeah.
It'll fail in a heartbeat, and that's something I don't think most people quite understand, is that this is something you do not want to see happen.
It's anytime you do shit by force. It's anytime you try to do shit by force, people will rebel.
I mean, if you look at it, if you're talking about all these free, all these free things, who is going to pay for it?
Yeah, that's the big question.
If you're going to tax the hell out of the middle America, who was the same middle America that voted for Trump, guess what? You've lost in 2020. I promise you that. You will. Middle America is not going to tolerate it, and they haven't. And that's why they voted, Trump into office.
Whew,
I'm
man.
kind of getting off on a tangent.
No, you're fine.
So
let's bring it back around. Let's talk about Alex Jones for a minute.
All right, go ahead.
Let's talk about Alex Jones for a minute. We know recently he's been in a very seemingly coordinated effort by a number of different content providers has been booted off of their platforms.
You know, I need to put on that tinfoil hat when I watch him. He is a little outlandish for me, for my taste. I don't particularly like watching his show.
Right.
There are some situations or discussions that he's had that I can actually agree with, but majority of the time, he's just not for me.
Hell, you could say that about just about anybody.
Well, yeah, that's true, but I mean, he does push that envelope, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, somebody has
makes people feel uncomfortable.
See, here's the problem. He is a conspiracy theorist. He does have all these ideas, and it seems to be getting worse. But the problem is he has been right a few times.
He has.
You know, he has called out some shit that people were like, "Oh."
He even said that Gavin was going to be next as far as censorship, and sure enough.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, you can pull it up on YouTube, and you can find a video that he talked about where he was going to end up being censored.
Oh wow,
yeah.
That's incredible. But anyway, a quick list of the ones he got banned off of was he got banned off Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher.
Now, Apple's welcomed him back, I believe. You might want to look into that.
There was something I was looking at. I think it was the Google. He was showing side by side clips of the Google Play Store where.
Now Google, he's
showing
still on
him.
Google.
It's showing. Well, he's on there, but in the search, it shows him on I think he was on a mobile. It was showing it at number 1. He was number 1 in the in the store.
I'm the one that posted out on Facebook, and it shows that InfoWars is the actual app that is number 1 in news and magazine.
Right, but if you did it on a computer or another device, it was not coming up at all.
See, I didn't know that. I pulled it up on my phone.
It just depended on the device. That the algorithm was making it come up in different devices and not on other. Anyway, continue the list. Let's see, iTunes, Stitcher, YouPorn, Mailchimp. Here recently over the last day or so,
Pinterest too.
Vimeo. He also got kicked off of fucking Pinterest.
Oh yeah. How do you get kicked off Pinterest? Like he doesn't even put anything on Pinterest that I'm aware of. But how do you get kicked off of Pinterest? How is that even possible? You are doing something absolutely right in this world if you're getting kicked off Pinterest.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, are we just gonna have like an arts and crafts day where we just start doing something with InfoWars? Make a sign. I mean, come on. He doesn't bring any kind of true value.
Well,
to Pinterest. That is just fucking great. I love that. Alex Jones, you are killing it, my man. Well, you are getting kicked off Pinterest.
He posts.
You are awesome.
He goes on Pinterest and pins up things like, how to polish your boots properly before you put on your jack boots.
And then he screams and yells at you through memes and everything else that I don't know. I just think that's fucking hilarious that he's getting that Pinterest of all people. That is just awesome. I gotta find memes on that.
You go to InfoWars on Pinterest. It's about how I got my moon-shaped face gradually.
Oh dear God.
Anyway, so I wanted to bring up. Okay, so here's the problem. The best argument I heard for any kind of legal recourse that he might have is the fact that in a 1996 bill or law or whatever it was, it was designed to protect. Let me read the actual thing here. I just want to make sure I get this correct. Yeah, it says Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act of 1996 says no provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. Section 1 provides immunity from liability for providers and users of an interactive computer service who publish information provided by third-party users. So basically the idea was, if you have people posting like on Facebook, you have other people creating the content for your site, you cannot be held liable for that. Like the people that are posting it, maybe, because they're the ones breaking whatever law it is, but you as a platform provider cannot be held liable for it. Now,
well, don't think for 1 second that he's not lawyered up right now.
Sure.
I can tell you what, there's a good chance he's going to end up winning.
Let me finish here.
Yeah.
So there's that. That was what was designed to protect your social media companies from being sued en masse. Problem is, that is as long as they remain neutral. as long as they remain a neutral provider and not trying to pick and choose what content gets published on their sites. Like the way a newspaper is handled, you have an editor-in-chief that is it's like the gatekeeper through which all the content has to go through.
Chain of command.
Yeah, and then because like a bunch of us can submit articles, but the ultimately the magazine publisher is going to be the one responsible for ultimately publishing that. In which case, if there's any kind of defamation or anything like that, the actual publication can get in trouble and they can get sued because they had the final call.
Well, then you kind of dive into the terms and conditions in which you agree to when you sign up. So again, I don't know what the terms and conditions are for Twitter. I'm very familiar with them on Facebook, and I can, he was targeted for, the reason for he was, being banned was for hate speech. That's ultimately what they went after him for.
Well, hold on before you go on. Let me finish the whole.
Okay,
the whole
thing.
I was trying to build up to something here. So social media companies are being protected under this law. What was it? 6-2. Damn it, I can't remember numbers. I'm terrible about it. Anyway, Section 230. Yeah.
Okay.
They're protected under that.
Right.
Publishers of magazines are not. Because they're the ones actually picking and choosing what is produced, what content goes on their platform. So, if he has any kind of legal case to stand on, I think these social media companies need to make a decision. Are they a platform like a magazine or a newspaper publisher, or are they a neutral third party? Like they need to kind of pick one or the other. They can't keep kind of
can't keep
coming in and
out
and
figuring out what you want to. And I think this is where Apple retracted itself. Okay, does that make sense? I think that they don't want to find themselves in a legal battle because of what we just talked about. And if that does happen, Alex Jones can walk away making millions off of suing the hell out of these places just because of what's going on. And personally, I don't think he's going to be permanently banned. I think that this was done just before the midterms. I also think it was done just before the Unite to Right rally, too. I think this was just all we're going to shut down conservatives.
Yeah, there's a reason they're doing it now when they're doing it. Because
right.
Alex Jones has been on the platform.
Yeah.
He's been doing this shit for decades. Decades.
And then you look
now all of a sudden.
You look at Gavin McInnes and his whole situation with Twitter. I actually watched I don't know if I sent it to you, but it's a video of his last 20 tweets. I think you've uploaded it to the page.
You sent it to me, and I haven't had a chance to watch the whole thing just
If you
yet.
get a chance to watch it, it's about an hour long, but it talks about his last 20 tweets, and there's really nothing in there that warranted him getting banned from Twitter.
No, he's a racist. You know he's a racist, right?
Yeah, he's a big-time racist.
Yeah, I even had to correct the record with Kyle Kalinske. I had so many problems with this damn episode he was talking about today, because this is one of the issues that he brought up too.
He disavows,
Gavin McInnes getting, but listen,
right.
He's like, I don't know if they're racist, or I don't know if I heard that they sit there and as part of their initiation they have to beat up a liberal to get in. I'm like,
beat up a liberal?
Yeah, I tweeted him. I said, dude, it's a bunch of dudes getting together. It's a silly. Can you bring up that tweet, Haley? My last tweet there.
Now, if they want to implement that into the Proud Boys, I'm all for it. But that's what they have Antifa to beat up on, So, but no, they don't beat up liberals as part of that. No, that is not how.
No. So I tweeted out. You can bring it up on the screen. One more. You're almost there. There it is. Click on that. Click on it. Click on it. Yeah, click on it. Yeah. So I shout out to Kyle, and I said, to be clear, the Proud Boys initiation has absolutely nothing to do with beating up libs. New initiates get beat up playfully as he lists off 3 breakfast cereals. It's silly fun between dudes and has nothing to do with being white, just pride in Western civilization.
That's all that it is.
That's all that it is. It's a bunch of dudes that just want to hang out, drink some beer, and
call women,
be there for each other. It's nothing. It has nothing to do with race and skin color.
No, it doesn't.
It's ridiculous.
And the Proud Boys have actually talked about, or Gavin has actually talked about, that there are people that are gay and there are people that are black or from different cultures that are part of the Proud Boys.
Right.
So this is just the narrative that you get from the mainstream media talking about how they're just white nationalists, racist, extreme right, and I'm just like, you guys are a bunch of fucking idiots is what you are. And and it's funny because if you actually pull up Wikipedia and you actually do a search for Proud Boys, they talk about, what they stand for, First Amendment, Second Amendment, and, and everything else. And they're against
and you can look at
racism
videos of their initiations on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's right there for everybody to see. It's nothing.
It is.
It's nothing.
And it really kind of gets under my skin because what they actually bring to society is a very good thing, in my opinion. You look back to where we are in society now, men are just a bunch of pussies. And, we actually used to, stand for something. We used to actually be manly
Ain't it a damn
men.
shame that in today's world, like, it's weird for guys to want to meet up together. Like, to just have an all-boys only kind of group. Like, that's weird.
You had the Masons, the Lions Club. I mean, you had so many organizations that did this for so long and still do. But why all of a sudden is it wrong for the Proud Boys to come on the scene?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I don't hear a lot of guys sitting there bitching and moaning and crying because, oh, it's a girls group and I want in. You guys are sexist.
No, the Proud Boys have a Proud Boys girls. They do. That is, I mean, you can also find that on the internet as well. That is there.
Right.
So
not for the main meetings. Not for the main meetings.
No, not for that. I'm just saying that it is out there for women. But
right.
Yeah, the Proud Boys get an extremely bad rap because of the
Which, by the way, if you are interested in joining the Nashville chapter of the Proud Boys, send me a message and I'll put you in contact with them pretty quick.
Yep.
So, I know the guys there. They're pretty cool. They're pretty cool guys. Young men.
Good group of guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you mentioned earlier the fact that Alex Jones was mysteriously kicked off these platforms just before the midterms, and I think you're going to see everything ramp up as we get closer. You always hear about the pre-election October surprise, and I think there might be something, they're going to try to drop some big bomb or something. You got Omarosa out there promoting a new book talking about she heard Donald Trump say the N-word.
Oh yeah, she's going to launch this in October. She is going to drop this audio claiming that it was from one of the producers or members of one of the
Wait, she says she's going to drop it in October?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Well,
and I'm like, you just made this obvious as far as what you're doing.
Like, if you've got it, drop it now. Like, what's the holdup? Why wait till October?
Like it's hot, baby. Come on, we want to hear it because there's not an audio recording of Trump using the N-word. It's not there. Sorry. It's just, and it just trips me out that people are just so out there to get Trump and also trying to create this much controversy just before the midterms. Now, what I find interesting is that they are taking this to a whole new level. I mean, they are seriously just ramping shit up like I've never seen before. It's one thing to sling mud. Now it's like we're slinging cars at people.
Yeah, it's going to get worse. You mark my words. It's gonna. I mean, because this is arguably the most important election for Democrats since the Donald Trump election, and before that, I couldn't even tell you when the most important.
This is going to make or break the Republican Party.
The fact that it hasn't even died down even a little bit about the resistance movement and everybody just trying to keep things going. And I know I had heard on Rachel Maddow a while back she had done a whole piece talking about during the Watergate scandal,
right,
and how the media was just trying really hard to make sure it stayed, in the news as the trial went on, to make sure that, by the time it was all said and done, that, it was still had enough public support to,
Well, it's like this whole Russian probe. It's gone on for 2 years now.
And after she said that, I've noticed every single episode that I've heard, every single one is talking about this minute little details of the Mueller trial I don't even they come up with all these different players and names. I've lost track at this point. I don't really care. It's like, they're trying to push back this whole trial and they're trying to move him from this jail to that jail. It's like nobody gives a shit.
I'm just sitting back and I'm watching the Democrats go down in flames. And, they're the whole, the walk away movement that they've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I encourage people to look that up and kind of see what's going on with that. It is not necessarily saying that you have to, vote Republican.
Yeah, no joke.
You can actually vote independent. If there's somebody that you have in mind or that's in your district to vote for, walk away from the Democratic Party. It is just a cesspool. of just bad shit right now.
Yeah,
it really is.
They're losing their hold on power, and that's all they got this.
They're collapsing.
One track mind to get back into power, and it's like they were so close. It's like we were right there. We almost had Hillary in office. The polls were saying it was 95% a shoo-in to win. She had it. It was on lockdown. We had it, and we were going to get away with all this shit. And now it's like, well, we have to keep putting the fire to Trump's feet all the time, so that way nobody's looking at us. It's like,
I tell you,
sorry, the internet's a big place. People are still looking at you.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of intelligent people out there, if they take the time and actually see what's going on with the Democratic Party. Me personally, if you are a Democrat, you might want to reevaluate your party and the people that are in charge, because it's not looking too good. And I'm not saying that because I am a Republican. I'm saying that because I used to be a Democrat myself. And that's one thing I kind of talked about was this is not the same party that I voted for back when I voted for Obama in the first term. I didn't vote for him in the second term. And there was reasons for that. It's because of the way things were going and his policies I did not agree with.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that he had done that I could not wrap my head around. And, thankfully, I didn't vote for him a second term, and seeing where we're at today just kind of reaffirmed everything that we had talked about, and as far as where the Democratic Party is headed, and that is a direction that is not good. It's not. And
I've got a lot of left-leaning ideas, but I've never considered myself a Democrat.
Well, no,
never
I
consider myself really a Republican either, but
no, I do as well. But as I think the Democratic Party has shown me a lot as far as their quote unquote tolerance for people. That is probably the party that does not have any tolerance whatsoever. None.
Yeah.
And it's like, you want to preach tolerance towards Republicans. I think if anybody is probably more tolerant, it's the Republican Party, and we're just sitting back and we're like, you guys are fucking morons for what you're doing, what you're trying to do for these midterms. And it's scary to see and watch. And
you can smell the desperation, can't you?
My God, man. I mean, you got, who was it? Nancy Pelosi calling MS-13 thugs good people.
Oh, God.
I'm like, and then you got Maxine Waters that's out there and telling people to shame, anybody that's a part of the Trump administration when you see them out in public. Why would you do that? Why?
Yeah. Unless you're trying to incite violence.
You're trying to incite violence. She even talks about where she's holding a microphone talking about how, if you see him at a gas station, at a restaurant, I mean, there's an actual video of this, and she's inciting this, for people to do. And it's like, oh, I just had a quick thought.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this. So somebody took out the Trump star on, what is it, the
Hollywood
Walk of Fame.
Oh, I love it. Go ahead.
So
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They took out that star with an axe pick, and then I pull up this article just a couple days later, and these two artists decided to take it upon themselves, and they put down all these stickers that said Donald Trump all over the Walk of Fame, and I'm thinking that is brilliant. But it's good. It's good to see that there's some Republicans and people out there that are out there having fun with this, because it's ridiculous that if you think that bashing up a star is going to prove a point, I'm sorry, but I don't think anybody's going to lose any sleep over that. I don't think Trump did. He probably laughed and said, "These fuckers over here just put down 20 more stickers to my one you just destroyed." it was great,
no doubt. And then you got guys like Milo Yiannopoulos.
Yeah, look at that one 5 days ago.
Second row.
No, go back.
Right there, second, right there.
Yeah.
Bring that one up on screen here. Yeah, this was just a small sampling, but yeah, basically.
I'm like,
and they look so perfect, on point.
You have won the trolling of the year in my book. Whoever did this, I applaud you for this.
So good, and Milo Yiannopoulos is selling different various size Trump star stickers like that. You can buy a bundle of them and go put them everywhere.
That is just awesome, man. I mean, that's like the most epic trolling ever done. And I think it's great. I really do, and I think it just kind of shows the society we live in right now, and with the Democratic Party, that, they're willing to take an axe pick to a star to prove a point. You're not proving anything other than your party's an absolute out of their fucking mind.
Right.
But then the Republicans kind of come in and like, I'm going to lay this one down. Next thing you know, you got 20 stickers. Have fun with that one.
So before we wrap up, we do got to make sure we have the fancy mystery link for tonight.
Oh shit! I never did send you a
I know,
link.
we got it. We got it, homie. Don't worry about it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, we got
Okay,
one.
cool.
We got one.
I'm slacking, man.
Yeah,
I tell you what.
we're prepared, man. Don't worry about
Uh-oh,
it. So
I'm
let's
afraid to even
bring it
know
up
what
on the
this one
screen
is.
here before you.
Do you even know
Not
what it is?
4. You take the 4 out. You got to delete.
Wait a
the 4.
minute. Do you know what the mystery link is?
No. Haley
Oh,
does.
she does. Okay.
Yeah,
All
I don't
right,
know what it
let's
is.
do this.
Haley
All
found
right.
it.
We both don't know the mystery
Yeah.
link, which is unusual
Yeah,
because
that's-
normally I'm the one that knows it. You
Right.
guys don't.
5 minutes ago, she brought it up.
5 minutes
Yeah.
ago.
We put this. We build this airplane as it's taking off. You know.
All right.
Let's see what we got. We got to stop advertising for Google, by the way.
Thousands of birds congregate at Old Navy in Texas.
Thousands of birds congregate at Old Navy in Texas. Ooh, we got a little video. Full screen that bitch. Not full screen that comma bitch. I would never say that.
Ads.
Are we getting an ad? Oh, shut that off. Shut it off.
On the rise.
We don't want ads.
We bleed orange. Together, forever.
Ugh.
Saturday, August 8th.
Yeah.
It's a scene
18th,
straight
sorry.
from the movie The Birds, and it's really just as freaky. Thousands watched live on our ABC 13 app tonight as nearly 500,000 birds took over a Stafford shopping center. But this
Hey, look.
isn't a one-time thing, and people
Hey, look, it's a Antifa protest. I'm sorry.
Those little bastards.
Indistinguishable from an Antifa protest. Go on.
People are flocking to that center every night.
Oh,
just
do you
to
see
get a
that?
look.
They're flocking.
Eyewitness News reporter Stephen Revo
That's
is
a good play
like,
on words.
Hey, no, it's Black Friday. Black Friday sale.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, I'm full of them. Keep going.
I was going to say something, but it might be kind of deemed racist.
Keep going.
live with more on this feathered phenomenon.
Oh,
Feathered
Jesus.
phenomenon.
Not the news puns.
Puns. Oh, my God.
Yeah, Gina, it is an impressive thing to see, and it's hard to believe all those.
He looks like he's the kind of guy that's a bird watcher in his spare time anyway. So he looks overly joyed to be here.
Oh, dear Lord. Like he's
birds are
about
now
to wet
in these
himself.
trees here behind me. You can hear them still right now tonight. It is sort of like the movie The Birds, but thankfully we did not see any bird attacks today. At a shopping center in Stafford, it wasn't the steep sales that brought out families. It was the birds, purple martins to be exact, thousands of them roosting in trees. They swirled through the air around sunset.
A whole sky covered in birds and kind of funneling and swarming around.
Ben Griffin and Janice Skinner came out to see for themselves the sight they'd heard about from their families.
So it was a really cool thing to see, just all the hundreds of thousands of birds swarming around.
The Houston Audubon Society says the birds are hanging out preparing to migrate. The numbers are so great and the flock so dense, they can even pop up on weather tracking systems.
It was really cool, and I've never seen anything like
Holy
this before.
crap.
People flock to this shopping
I
center.
know, she's
not
hot.
for retail therapy.
Yeah, that's what I was
to enjoy
thinking.
a taste of nature
Throw me
right
under the bus,
in middle
Anthony.
of the suburbs.
All right, so
All I got out of the whole clip was she's hot.
You?
I don't give a shit about birds. I really don't. So whatever.
well, at any rate, I sure appreciate y'all coming and joining us and hanging out. And I
Yes, as
appreciate you
always.
coming
It's
in.
a pleasure to be here.
If y'all want to be a guest on the show, hit me up. Head over to unframeofmind.com and just and hit that that button. It says to be on the show and shit.
Be a guest.
I don't mind. I like talking to different people. As much as I like Anthony, I also like talking to other folks too.
Well, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
I miss you though.
I know.
When
It's
I'm
cool,
not on
man.
the show, I miss him.
I know. It's fine. At any rate, so
It's considered our play date.
And
Until next time.
And honestly, the biggest thing you can do right now to help support the show is to share. And just and tell your friends about us if you like what you see, if you want to hear some more. And also be sure to check out those last few episodes.
Birdnado.
Carrie Quigley says Birdnado. That God, don't submit
Can you
that to Hollywood.
imagine?
That's going to be the next movie.
I know, but can you imagine the mess it would leave all over cars
And
and
the
shit?
broadcast.
Literally.
Oh Jesus.